2017 has been a year of ups and downs. On the one hand, we've been subject to a loot box epidemic which has genuinely ruined some of the year's most anticipated games. And on the other hand, Nintendo released the Switch, which has easily had one of the best launch years in history. We've had remakes, more VR, and Skyrim was re-released for like the 83rd time. I even disappeared for a big chunk of the year, but that's mostly unrelated to video games. I am back now though, so without further ado, I'm Josh the Top Hat Gamer, and these are my top 10 games of 2017. Number 10. Crash Bandicoot The N. Sane Trilogy. I was torn about including this in my top 10 for the year, but remake or not, Crash Bandicoot The N. Sane Trilogy is too significant to me on a personal level to ignore. Crash Bandicoots 1 through 3 were a huge part of my formative gaming years, and to see the mascot that defined my earliest game playing years return in such grand style was monumental. And beyond the pure nostalgia factor, it played almost as well as I remember it playing. And the updated visuals and audio have made it a far more appealing way to introduce this gaming icon to a brand new generation. And as a bonus, it's 3 great games in one. How could I not put such a huge game on my list? Number 9. The Sexy Brutale. Just the name alone could have landed the Sexy Brutale on this list. I could have just not played this game but heard the name and said to myself, yeah, that sounds perfect. But as luck would have it, the Sexy Brutale turned out to be a charmingly bizarre puzzle game as well. It leads you down a stylish rabbit hole with a dark mystery to solve once you're in there, and everything from the game's jazzy soundtrack to its cartoonish visuals and brain-bending narrative make up one of the most unique games I've played in recent memory. Did it last very long? No, not really. Did it require multiple playthroughs? Nope. But sometimes a video game just doesn't need to be huge or endlessly replayable to be good. Sometimes a focused, lean experience is all you need. In fact, I think you can sum up the Sexy Brutale as all killer, no filler. Number 8. Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. This was genuinely surprising. I don't like the Rabbids, I think the video game's answer to the minions, and I hate the minions. But then Mario plus Rabbids Battle Kingdom comes out for the Switch, and it's got an atrocious name, and the Rabbids are there, and it's Ubisoft handling the Mario IP, and it's just so frickin' weird. But by some small miracle, Mario plus Rabbids turns out to not only be functional, but actually pretty damn good. It's colourful, the character designs are full of personality, and the turn-based tactical gameplay is genuinely enjoyable. It doesn't offer the same level of challenge as, say, XCOM 2, but it also manages to feel more fair and less reliant on RNG shenanigans. And although the game isn't particularly hard, you're given a surprising amount of tactical options, and different enemy types show up to encourage you to think about your game plan more than not at all. I just can't believe I liked this game more than a straight-up Nintendo-developed Mario platformer this year. This feels so weird. Number 7. Nier Automata. I'll admit, some of what makes Nier Automata really amazing is lost on me as a newcomer to the series. There's plenty of plot points or references that just go straight over my head. However, anyone who plays Nier Automata should definitely see what makes it so special, whether they know the series lore or not. The game's narrative and how that narrative is told over multiple playthroughs through different perspectives is just one of the cool things that Nier Automata does. Additionally, it deals with some pretty lofty subject matter. Its commentary on existence and what it means to be human gives you a little more to dig into if you're not just looking for lightning-fast action, stylish visuals, and a breathtaking soundtrack. And if you are simply looking for a game that delivers on the latter, then Platinum most certainly delivers that as well.
Please start moving.
Number 6. What Remains of Edith Finch. If you find yourself with a free afternoon and want an engrossing, emotional narrative, you can easily do far worse than What Remains of Edith Finch. I've played a bunch of so-called walking simulators, but where I often come away from them feeling like I didn't really interact with the game, What Remains of Edith Finch surprised me by featuring a number of varied, albeit simple mechanics that kept me engaged for the entire experience. The game wanders between different vignettes that explore the Finch family's various members, and each one is so different from the one that came before that the game never feels like it's dragging on. Yes, you can finish the game in about 2 hours, but I think that's the perfect length for this type of game. And at the end of the day, its thoughtful, melancholy narrative is undoubtedly worth experiencing. Number 5. Cuphead. Cuphead is a really strange game on paper. A run-and-gun platformer with a focus on huge, multi-phase boss battles, Cuphead is certainly a unique gameplay experience. But the game really stands out thanks to its visuals and sound design, both of which are styled after early 20s and 30s Fleischer and Disney animation. Every level introduces you to bizarre characters who are animated to a ludicrous degree, and the jazzy background music accompanies a game that, without exaggeration, is as hard as hell. This is a seriously difficult game, but with that, you get that Dark Souls level of satisfaction when you finally do beat a tough spot. And to add to the charm of it all, Cuphead is one of the few games I can think of that offers couch co-op this year, so extra points for that. I can't get enough of that throwback goodness. Number 4. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Full disclosure, I'm not a Legend of Zelda fan. I appreciate elements of the series, but I've never really enjoyed any entry enough to come even close to finishing one. That has changed with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The sheer freedom that the game bestows upon you as you leave the tutorial area is refreshing, and the amount of places to explore and cool things to find is staggering. The core gameplay may not be much to write home about, but the game allows for plenty of inventive uses of its basic mechanics and often rewards you for thinking outside the box. And at the end of the day, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a vast world just waiting for you to discover something new about it, and we need more games like this. You couldn't ask for a more beautiful, more freeing experience to launch alongside a new console, so big ups to Nintendo on that one. Simply put, Breath of the Wild made the Switch worth getting. Number 3. Nioh. Nioh is often difficult, regularly horrific, and almost always incredible. Slashing your way through the game feels quick and satisfying, while its key and stance mechanics make combat feel much more nuanced than it initially appears. Add to that Nioh's extensive lore, which grounds itself in both Japanese myth and history, and you'll find yourself facing down some of the most unique and terrifying challenges I've ever fought in an action RPG. Really, Nioh has so much to offer, from loot drops and secrets to side missions and ridiculous amounts of optional boss encounters, that you almost forget about the game that inspires it completely. Nioh is special in its own way and most certainly stands on its own 2 feet. Also, I totally learnt stuff while I played, so bonus points for education.
Dawn is breaking.
Number 2. Horizon Zero Dawn. Few video games have engaged me as quickly and thoroughly as Horizon Zero Dawn did, and it did so with a captivating narrative, a fascinating world, and gameplay that was both fun and involving. Taking down robotic wildlife effectively takes some planning, whether you're hunting for a manageable prey like broadheads or shell walkers, or something more exotic, like, robot T-Rexes. Yeah, that's the thing. Even if Horizon just dumped you in this world with no plot, no context, and it was just the gameplay, I'd still be pretty crazy about this game. But it does have a plot, and it's honestly really captivating. The overarching mystery of why the world is the way that it is, and why the main character is so different from everyone else, drove me forward when I would have just been happy hunting robo-animals. I think that says something about its quality.
It's not gonna wait! Come on!
Number 1. Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus. There are a lot of reasons for Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus to take the coveted top position on this list, so I'm just gonna list them out. It might be one of the most gratifying gameplay experiences of the year, with brutal gunplay, visceral melee takedowns, and satisfying stealth. Its narrative is unpredictable but always engaging, as it delivers spectacular set-piece moments and more quiet, intimate story beats as well. Its characters are colourful and endearing, apart from when they're just so undeniably awful and easy to hate. Its industrial soundtrack provides it with a constant pulsing beat to drive you forward, and it is just a damn fine game. But on top of it all, it released in a time where the condemnation of Nazis and fascism as a whole can be considered by some to be controversial. Wolfenstein says, "No more Nazis." Wolfenstein asks you to rise up against an empire of hatred, and damn it, that's what I needed to hear this year. There's no doubt in my mind that Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus is the best game of 2017.
I got a nuke and this here fire extinguisher.
Yes, of course! That sounds so good.
And that's my list. Honorable mentions for Prey, which is sitting at the top of my pile of shame, and Injustice 2, which probably got more play hours out of me this year than most other games. Obviously, what I thought were the best games of 2017 aren't going to line up perfectly with any other lists, so I'd love to hear what you loved this year in the comments below. Wolfenstein 2 is still the best game of the year. I'm Josh the Top Hat Gamer, wishing you all a happy new year, and I will see you all a lot more next year.